The Bloody Baron here. This is a demo of a Google Doc that can be used to track World of Tanks clan member activity. From the roster subsheet, you begin by clicking the Update button. You'll see a notification that says Running Script, and you'll want to wait until that changes to say Finish Script. The script makes a call to the Wargaming API to pull the clan's current roster of players and some other basic metrics into the sheet. Unfortunately, Wargaming doesn't expose all of the information we need. We calculate our activity score based on the box productions and clan tool code entries, and those things will have to be entered separately. Next step, down at the bottom of the sheet, you'll see a box count, CT daily codes, an exempt, and some other helper sheets. Once the script here is finished, it pops up with a notification to remind us we need to update the box counts and the clan tool code. So we click OK to get that message away. Then the finished script notice pops up. See that the date's been updated. And the box totals are still left over from the last time. So we're going to go to the box count tab. Then we'll click on the new box entry button. That'll slide all the existing data over to the right so we can keep it and get it later. But it inserts new columns with the updated current roster as of that date and gives us a place to store the box counts. Now at this point we've got to go to the in-game client in order to get those box counts. So from here you'll go in-game and click on the clan menu option, and then we'll click on the personnel pane, and from here we'll make sure it's on 28 days. Click on the player column heading so that it sorts players alphabetically. Over here is the column where we're going to pick up the actual box counts. And obviously with a two-screen setup it's a lot easier to do that. So we'll go down just the first 20 or so, and you want to make sure that the names are lined up. Sometimes Google Docs sorting is not exactly the same as Wargaming's. With players that have leading underscores or numbers as part of their name, sometimes they don't sort the same way in both places. But at any rate, this is the most tedious step of the whole process because of switching back and forth in the manual, obviously. But all in all, you can do it in about 5 minutes or so. We'll scroll this down in Google Doc and then go back to the game client, scroll it down, make sure I'm back in the same place, and keep going. And then we'll skip a bit here to spare you some. Okay, now we're approaching the last entry. Once that's done, we don't need the in-game client anymore, so I'll go back to full screen on the spreadsheet. Back up to the top, click back over to the roster page, and now that color coding will have changed because it's picked up some changed box counts. The clan tools codes are basically a paste and copy operation. There's a link at the top of that page that takes you to a special payout where it'll count up. The exempt tab is where you're going to record any players that have given you notice AFK. This is where your online AFK Google sheet could probably feed into this with a little bit of tweaking, but for now it's manually updated in here. So we're adding no more tank. It's got real life as a comment. That's just for knowledge. It won't show up on the roster results, but it calculates how long to ignore him from the sheet. Now that we've added that, you can see his color has changed. Got an exemption that will prevent him from getting in the groupings for the kick. Now up on the top, there's little buttons with arrows that'll allow you to sort ascending or descending on whatever column it appears. Here we've got it sorted by the activity score. So the guys at the top of this are gonna be the folks you probably would kick first. They've been out of the game the longest, haven't been contributing any boxes or any activity. So now we'll resort it by rank to show an example. And let's go back to the activity score, do that kick order. And once you get it sorted or formatted the way you like, ordered the way you like, you can click this publish to member activity doc, and the results that you see on this are going to be published to a separate document. The script says finish. Now you can open up where that member document would live. It's going to be read only just so the membership can see it. It doesn't have all of the other tabs at the bottom, but that way it lets everybody see kind of what the officers are seeing and where their progress is at, and cuts down on the drama when people say they're contributing and got metrics. Now we'll resort it a different way and then hit the published member doc again so you can see that the secondary, the totally separate Google Doc accessible actually changes. So now updated with the new court order. And that is pretty much it. I'm open to suggestions. The main thing, you want to wait until the scripts finish. The first time you use it, you may have to answer some additional security questions to give it access to everything it needs. But outside of that, that's about it.